I think that success is staying alive. The first and foremost. I mean, that sounds pretty crazy, but it's true. We need to stay alive. We can't let this just wither away on the vine. We get, the harder things get and the more bleak things look, we've got to double down our efforts and we got to keep pushing harder because they just want us to go away. Okay. So I think part of that is reflected in the strategy of decentralizing and these websites up and doing all that. So I think that's what we're seeing there. It kind of hedges against legal activity and it helps us stay alive. The other part of this is, we're probably just a blip on the radar right now. As much as people like to hype things up, I think I'm talking about through the eyes of big institutions. Since we're not playing ball with these folks at the genesis of our chain, then we're not really on their radar. They're not looking at ways to extract value from us. They don't believe us. This is how these folks operate. They're not going to get involved in this for 5 to 10 years, just like they didn't get involved with Bitcoin for that amount of time, or they didn't get involved with Ethereum for a long time either. So we're kind of in our proving grounds right now. I think we're setting the foundation pretty strongly though, because we're community funded. Hexkins made a lot of money, and Hexkins are building out PulseChain right now. It's a self-funded community. That's huge because you really do have so many strings attached when you take money from others when you're setting up a layer one. Tons of strings because everybody wants their money back. So I think to define this for you, I think we need to stay alive. We need to do everything to stay alive, regardless, of RH's system. We're just kind of taking this baby and we're going to make it our own. And everybody wants RH back. I'm not saying that, but we have been pushing forward very, very strongly, and I think we need to continue to do that.
Is the biggest risk on people's mind, I guess the imaginary horrible, if you will, is it that all the money people put into this ecosystem, Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, community projects, whatever it is, that it just, instead of going up, it goes down or it goes to, near zero, all that stuff? Is that in the back of everyone's angst and frustration and fears? Is that like the main thing of like, wow, did I just buy the wrong crypto?
Yeah, it's pretty, I think so. Right. Because it's not just that you bought it. It's you told 20 people as well. So you're feeling the heat from those people too. And that might not represent everybody, but it's certainly going to represent, I'd say out of 10 people, 5 people on board as somebody else during the sacrifice phases, right? Or Hex. Hex is on the legal paperwork from the SEC and PulseX and PulseChain and RH. So I think that there's just a lot of those sorts of feelings. It's almost like people are getting shamed on a daily basis and they feel bad and they didn't set people's expectations properly. And I think a lot of that's happening right now. What do you think?
It doesn't really occur to me that that's even possible. And I don't say that in the cult way. I don't say that because I'm in this thing. I say that as I can't think of any reasonable explanation for why we wouldn't be successful, even if SEC stuff goes on for a while, even if blah, blah, blah happens, even if we got another leg down. I can't come up with an accurate explanation for how the community could dissolve. I think it would take a long time, and we'd have to have the worst, knock on wood, the worst stroke of luck of anything. And like, there would have to be better products come along. I mean, again, the people who like Hex, they like Hex because it's amazing and it does what they needed to do. It's not because it's the flavor of the month. So I think we're just built so strong top to bottom. It's not even a rational thought for me to think, oh, I bought the wrong crypto. That's why it feels like an imaginary world. That's why it feels like, man, like it feels like it would be like a dream, a nightmare dream, but it would be like, that doesn't even sound possible. Like a dream in a sense of it's not even, you say like you dream about something, oh, the opposite's going to happen. Mm-hmm. If I had that nightmare, I would be bullish.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that So you're saying that in your mind, you see no way that we can't be successful. That's what you're saying.
I can't, if you were to ask me, come up with the steps and the things to happen from now on
Mm-hmm.
that would bring us down,
Mm-hmm.
I would have a hard time doing that in a rational approach. Not just because I love this place and I love everyone and all that stuff. I could put that aside and just be like,
Mm-hmm.
how would that actually happen? The things that would have to happen for that to occur would be so wild that it wouldn't even make sense.
So, so answer the question that you asked me, which was, what do you think's on people's minds right now? What's the highest level of FUD that's circulating through their heads?
I, I would put I would put it into two different categories. So one would be the new people who are kind of pedestrian. They came across the stuff. Maybe their friends are into it. Maybe they just it's their top five crypto that they've been following for a while. It's on the list of things to be on crypto Twitter about. They got a couple YouTubers they like. Those people, if I were to speculate, probably are thinking, wow, I'm glad I didn't put that much into this thing. I'm glad I didn't sack too hard. I'm glad I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I was going to buy the other day, but now this other thing that looks better came across. I'm going to be more into that. So I think they would just spend less time and energy. They would still be like one foot in, other foot out, sort of, hey, pedestrian, right? The other category, which goes much deeper in the community, people have been around a while, you, me, and all the different people who were here with Richard and streaming first and all that stuff. Who the places where it runs deep, especially if you've onboarded a lot of people, it goes into a place where I think maybe they're questioning did they join the right community? Like all the things they said, did they actually believe them at the time, or were they just caught up in the moment?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of doubt starts coming out. Like the people who were streaming when Hex was up 50 cents and like Richard was making streams a new all-time high like every week, that kind of thing, it is easy to get lost in momentum and be like, well, this thing's just never going to go down. And then if it goes down and then you get hit with more stuff and then more bad news, and then, oh, that was supposed to be good news, but actually it turned out not to be so good news. And a few months later, all that stuff, talking about PulseChain launch, by the way, it did a 2.5x, by the way. It did 2.5x, however, down afterwards. Those kind of feelings, I think, are different than the people who are kind of halfway in, halfway out. Oh, I'm going to go follow this new crypto. I can get out anytime. Versus the people who have been around so long where it's a way of thinking. It kind of threatens your, identity, if you will. Like maybe think about it like that. It threatens like this was the thing I thought was true. Is it still true if you get that far down? Yeah.
Yeah, it's people do it. So I've seen existential crisis happen. I've seen people's minds pop and their souls pop because they've been so attached to this, and they've been so attached to the war drums. They've been so attached to all these things, and now it's just kind of crumbling, and they have to. Some of these people have to reinvent who they are. That sounds crazy, but it's true. It's true if it's crypto. It's true if it's you see all these people crying on election days when their candidate doesn't get in, and that's because they've attached their entire identity to that. And it's the same with this community, same with this organization, same with these people, this person that people look up to. That's how it goes. So yeah, I can certainly agree. I can certainly agree with your synopsis there.
And this is coming from the RH Maximalist as well, right? Like I am intentionally extremely measured. I'm intentionally like, I love this place, but like I try to see, we talked about this before, like seeing things as they are and giving the objective approach instead of like literally when I see green candles, I'm like, I want to get excited, but I try not to get too excited.
Yeah. And
that helps me when I see red candles. I don't even care. I don't care when I see red candles because I'm not jumping out of the, I'm not, I'm not on the rocket ship to the moon when we have green candles. So that helps me not be, the opposite of that when we have red candles. So
isn't that so
it
hard?
is a very deliberate approach.
It's so difficult too, man, because you want to jump up and down, but you learn from experience. It's like this could be 100% candle one day, and then we just get wrecked the next. A whale comes in and slashes us, destroys our hopes and dreams.
I thought whales were good. They're like, whales are really good one day. Everyone celebrates them. The next day, I hate all the whales.
Yeah. So